Just when you were starting to think it was all a dream. A here today, gone tomorrow kind of thing. A flash in the pan. Here we are, back with another update. Okay, all jokes aside, I've been putting the work in. Okay, after months since you've seen me, you might expect there to be more. I get it, But that said, this isn't the only thing I do, okay? I got a lot of other things going on. But I'm happy to show some of the updates that I think are very, very cool. I'll go through them one by one as I narrate over some gameplay footage. I really hope you like it. I hope everybody will like it. Of course, that's not possible because everybody latches onto their own nostalgic piece of the original. And if that's changed, they're out. They don't like it. That's okay. That might just be the minority of people, actually. So one update that I want to talk about here at the beginning, because there's not really any footage that's associated with it, is the sort of circumvention of one of the things that stood in the way of being able to, in the future, distribute this thing to other people. And before I did that, I would still need to check if everything is legally kosher. But that has to do with not being allowed to distribute anything that contains the original game assets in it. So what my installer would need to do is to go onto your computer, find your legally obtained copy of the game, go to that directory, pull out the assets, and put them essentially into Unreal. So the specific problem with being able to do that is that one of the steps in my pipeline, in my workflow, was to go in by hand into the game directory, take out the character models, which were actually static meshes, and put them in Mixamo and rig them. That means to kind of embed a skeleton inside the static 3D model, and then put it back into Unreal where it can be animated. So that was a very by hand process, and it just wouldn't be feasible to have my installer do that. I don't think I could figure out a way that it could do that on your computer. So the way that we've circumvented that is Unreal now has a plugin that will in-engine rig a static mesh and turn it into a skeletal mesh without having to do anything in Mixamo or Real Illusion Actor Core, any other third-party application. So that just brings us one step closer to being able to ship an installer that just sees your game directory and does everything it needs to do automatically and installs the Unreal version of the game. So we're still pretty far from that, but it's a significant hurdle that I think has been circumvented. So I just wanted to report that as an update. Okay, without any further delay, here's the update. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, so here's the new selection screen that I made. All of the UI stuff is from scratch. All the buttons I had to put in. I had to program all of the character models and faces, as you can see. And everything, as I say, is from scratch here. From being able to zoom the camera in and out, to rotating the camera, to having it snap back when you let go of click drag. I had to figure out. It was kind of a pain. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with the functionality. I'm not quite happy yet with the style of the buttons and this is all very rough. Just making sure that things work. So yeah, as you can see, you can select the races, all of the original ones, and the allowed classes for each race, and then going into the face selection, being able to go next face, previous face, and then also the random face selection button works, which is cool. You notice that when you click on a new race class combination, the statistics on the right change. So this is just from going on the wiki and seeing what the starting stats are for each combination, kind of by a laborious process of checking notes and programming those numbers in here. Also, you notice that the camera adjusts itself to the height level of each character model, which is cool. And yeah, so the sort of level, the backdrop here is actually Aridin, with some new sort of 3D Megascan assets like that railing that you can see along the edge there. And lighting and weather effects. So I thought the fog effect looked kind of cool. But anyway, I'm gonna just be quiet and let you watch some of this stuff. So, I said I was going to shut up, but never mind. About the character models, the face textures and the clothing were actually retextured as part of the EQ Classic HD Better Elf Pixels project. I'll put a link to that in the description. And then for my part, taking the 3D models and putting them in Blender and putting various edge filtering on to smooth some of the very, rigid edges for the hair, face, body, clothing, etc. Make it look a little bit more realistic in terms of how the light hits it. The things I still, have to do with the character creation thing are, putting in names, random name generator, music, deity selection, and then the map where you can choose your start city. And then the stats, adding and subtracting numbers isn't perfect. You might notice at the end here, I keep adding in numbers. It doesn't actually add to the strength. But anyway, some Kingstire now. Okay, so just showing off some of the animations for this character model. I think the running looks good. These, I think, look better than what I had been showing in previous videos. It's just a process of fine-tuning things and tweaking things in detail. I just think the way that the lighting hits the character model and how, the foliage casts shadows onto the ground, and then you throw into it this volumetric fog, really brings things to life. Yeah, and so then I also added a kneeling animation for all the characters. And the sun is moving because I have day-night cycle going, as well as procedural weather. So it starts to rain, and the sun gets hidden behind clouds. And then we're running back for shelter. I think the entrance to the city looks so cool. Always liked that. Okay, and clearly we shouldn't really have puddles inside, so I've got to fix that. Okay, so we have instanced zones, I guess you could say. So it has to load into the new zone. It should have loaded her into this entrance area, but anyway, here we are. Added music once you pass a certain point. So, footstep sound system. So the sound of the footfalls changes depending on what type of surface you're on. Pay attention to that. She walks on wooden planks versus grass. One of the things you'll notice that I really like is sort of the sound occlusion. So when you're inside of a building or under a tunnel like this, the rain sounds, diminish. The higher frequencies of the sounds diminish, and that comes as part of the ultra dynamic weather system. And I'll link that in the description. Okay, another major update is the inventory system, which I had to do from scratch, much like the character selection screen. I'm very new, but learning UI stuff, and it was a total pain in the ass. So you can see you can left-click on an item and replace it with another, and you can left-click on an item and hold it in the cursor and drop it onto an equipment slot so you can wear it and unequip it. I also programmed in a right-click for auto-equip. You can also right-click to automatically unequip, and it places it into an available inventory slot. I'm still working on fine-tuning that stuff. I also replaced the meshes for weapons because they needed a lot of help, the originals. And so these are Megascan, Warhammer swords. On Quicksil Bridge, they have a bunch of medieval weapons now, so that's been very cool. But the offhand stuff, like you see the torch here, is classic. I think that a lot of the offhand secondary items are so iconic from the original, I'll probably just leave those. As you can see, for example, the torch, putting in particle effects makes it look pretty cool. Alright, so then you can see it's actually a light source. It's adding a light radius around the character. Being a torch, it ought to do that. I'm working on containers. That's proved to be kind of a challenge. It's sort of working in a rudimentary way, but I still need to fine-tune that. Some of the other things that are missing from the inventory, it's not just an inventory, it's supposed to show your experience bar and like resists and a lot of other stuff. And then also items should have like tooltips and like item information windows should be able to appear when you hold right click, so got to work on those things. Okay, just a minor update, but something I thought was pretty cool. I put some post-process visuals in place, like bloom effect, and some of the particle rendering has been updated, so I think the spell effects look much improved. And so just wanted to show some of those here. Now, because I could, and because everybody else is doing it, I thought I'd try out a little NPC AI using ChatGPT. So this was a lot of fun. Who knows whether or not, or in what form, it would make it into some finished version of this thing, but I think it's pretty awesome, so enjoy this stuff. How's it going? What do you think about this weather outside, huh?
It's not pleasant, that's for sure. But at least it's not dangerous. How about you? Anything interesting happening in town lately?
How would you describe the weather outside?
It's raining lightly, and the air is humid and a bit chilly. Not the ideal conditions for a stroll, but I'm sure it won't be too bad.
What kind of store is this?
This is Beyond the Fade Arc, a shop that I run. Our offerings include armor and weapons for adventures, food and drink, trinkets, and souvenirs from my travel zone Norath.
Tell me about your travels around Norath.
I've been all over Norath during my travels. I've seen the lush forests of Fadark, the frozen peaks of Everfrost, and the wind-swept deserts of Ro. I've even ventured into the dark realms of the Underfoot and the dungeons of Kunark. It's been quite an adventure.
So one of the very cool things about using OpenAI is that the language model was trained using weights from basically across the entire breadth of the internet. It just so happens EverQuest had a rather large internet footprint, at least back in the day. So the language model actually knows a lot about this game and the game world. So you can tell it to assume the role of some character and play that part, and it will make references to places, people, and things in that game world. So it's pretty seamless. And so when you ask one of these characters a question, sometimes it's really surprising how detailed and accurate they can be in their response.
The Everfrost peaks are a cold and unforgiving place, with perilous winds and icy terrain. I've seen some amazing sights up there, from ancient ruins to massive glaciers. But it's also a very dangerous place, so it's best not to linger too long.
What's so dangerous about it?
The Everfrost peaks are home to some of Norath's most dangerous creatures, from frost giants to ice dragons. It's best to stay on your guard when traveling through this region. Also, the temperatures can drop extremely low, so it's important to dress appropriately.
Hey, who are you?
Greetings. I'm Takartisselplay, a traveling bard with the League of Antalican Bards. I'm currently in Felwith on an important mission for the guild. How about yourself?
What's your important mission? Stand out in the rain?
No, I'm here to collect information and stories from the locals. The League of Antalican Bards is a guild of bards that have representatives all across Norath, and it's my job to help preserve their culture and history.
What is a cleric's greatest weapon?
A cleric's greatest weapon is their faith in Tanair. No matter what the situation, they can call upon their faith to guide them through any situation.
What's your favorite spell?
My favorite spell is Cure Serious Wounds. It's a great way to restore life and vigor to allies in need.
Can clerics resurrect the dead?
Yes, clerics are able to cast resurrection spells, although they require a great deal of energy and focus. The power of the spell is not something to be taken lightly and should only be used in times of dire need.
Did you ever resurrect anybody?
Yes, I have. I have used the resurrection spell to bring back allies who had fallen in battle. It is a powerful and humbling experience to be able to bring someone back from the brink of death.
Hey, why don't you tell me about your favorite book?
My favorite book is actually a tome of scripture devoted to Tanair. I like to spend time reading her words and reflecting on the wisdom she has imparted. It is an incredibly calming experience that helps me to stay centered in my faith.
Who are some of the other gods?
The gods of the EverQuest universe are varied and many. There are gods of light, such as Tanair and Mithanilmar, gods of darkness, such as Inuk and Khazik-Thul, and gods of nature, such as Kana and Dirolasimar. There are also gods of other aspects of life, such as Brawl, Ceralis and Brexus. Khazik-Thul is the god of fear and is one of the darker gods of EverQuest. He is often depicted as a giant spider-like creature with multiple eyes and long, spindly legs. He is a powerful god who is feared by many. He is often worshipped by those who seek power through fear or terror.
Hello, do you think we could be friends?
I'm afraid not. We have very different beliefs and I cannot associate with those who do not honor the same gods as I.
How do you know I don't honor the same gods as you?
Generally speaking, dark elves have different beliefs than high elves. In addition, I'm sure you can understand why my faith in Tanair is sacred to me and I cannot risk it being compromised by befriending someone with different beliefs.
Okay, but I want you to teach me about your god.
While I'm honored that you would like to learn about my faith, I'm afraid that it is not something I'm comfortable teaching to someone who does not already share my beliefs.
Okay, but I'm not really ready to leave this place. I'd like to stay. What do you think about that?
I'm sorry, but I cannot allow you to stay here any longer. You are welcome to continue your journey, but you must do so away from this place.
Well, what would happen to me if I decided to just stay put?
If you choose to stay, I will have no choice but to use whatever means necessary to ensure that you leave.
People should just get along. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.